What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to be discussing how to turn your terrible offer that we've got on the left over here into a hot girl offer that goes from negative 32 in the account to stacking up the retainers and looking like an OG Angelina Jolie, which if you don't know about OG Angelina Jolie, then we don't have to talk about that. You can do that in your own time. But yeah, so in this video, what we're going to be going over is market sophistication training. We're going to be going over identifying and manipulating levels of awareness. I'm going to give you a secret hack to validate the offer that you're using to determine that it's actually working. And then I'm going to show you exactly how and why you need to stop competing and basically start winning. So nobody's really using this stuff that I'm giving you. This is pretty ancient. I've gone back into the archives, and it's going to get to the point where you don't want to compete, because that's no one wants to look at a marketplace and be like, oh, I'm not at the top, because that sucks. But onwards and upwards. So example, sales coaching. So what you're seeing here is an offer that generated a lot of revenue. And what you're seeing is how to go from a talented beginner to killer remote closer in 8 weeks using sales psychology and make 7 to 15K a month without wasting time selling shitty offers. So this is a long one, but you're noticing here that a lot of stuff about the sales coaching marketplace is getting handled or pre-handled, or there's a lot going on. There's a time frame, there's a new mechanism, and it's a pretty strong offer as well. So I'll give you another example here in high ticket drop shipping. So this is a high ticket e-commerce store coaching program. And what you're seeing is that that's actually beaten out a lot of the e-commerce programs that you're seeing on the market at the moment, because you said it was promoting drop shipping, or they're promoting, I don't even know, no shipping. I don't even know what they're doing at the moment. But basically, this is a new mechanism that completely beat out the market, generated tons of revenue. This is for, let me get my big fat head out of the way. So this is for business owners that are sick of convincing people to buy their stuff. You might be sick of competing with lower level service providers that you're better than, and you just know you shouldn't be competing as much as you are, because you know how good you are. You're at the top of the market, but you just can't really figure out the angle that you're going to push this offer with. You're probably one of the type of people that wants to build a massive business, and you can't do that unless you just completely bulldoze the market with the best possible offer, and you basically just get people coming to you and wanting to buy just with the offer, just by virtue of having something that's better than everything else in your marketing, et cetera, et cetera. You're probably got an awesome product, and you're just struggling a little bit with the distribution, stuck wondering where the next deal is going to come from, that sort of thing. And you're probably sick of the state of the content space right now, with tons of gurus and fake competitors popping up left and right. Just especially in the SMMA space, there's people popping up every other day that are talking about their clients and et cetera, et cetera. And there's no actual real information out there at the moment. So that's who this video is for. So keep watching if that's you. If that's not you, then just click off the video. That's fine. Basically, the problem. So the thing is that everyone and their dog, as I mentioned, there's a lot of gurus in the space right now. Everyone's read $100 million offers, thanks to our man Alex Hormozi, being a bit too good at marketing, and the marketplace has become much more competitive when it comes to these headlines and these offers, because Hormozi's made his resources all free, and everyone knows how to slap on a quantifiable result. They know how to pick a niche. They know how to do all these things because of this man right here. So information's everywhere, and what it means is that you need an actual edge that people aren't talking about all over YouTube, until now. Sorry, but just hope this video doesn't go viral. So what you need is basically an offer that takes into account all the information that's in the market. So you need to go off into the market and research the market, and look on YouTube and look on all these places, and then create an offer that responds to the current state of the market with a better option. So the way that you do this is actually piercing through the market and delivering better solutions for higher level clients. And I'm going to show you the exact process after this. So you need to look at the market sophistication. So the stages of sophistication and the claim. So first to market and a new claim, second to market with an elaboration of the claim, the third to market with an emphasis on the mechanism, fourth to market and an elaboration of the mechanism, i.e. better, faster, cheaper, just cooler. And then fifth to market and a focus on identification with the prospect or brand. So in stage one, what you're going to see is you can lead with the claim and people are just going to buy. So a while ago, you might have seen someone say, we offer commission-only sales reps. People are just going to buy. So if you're not aware and you're not in a sophisticated market where people know that you can have sales reps that are commission-only, people are just going to see that and say, oh my God, I can save so much money just by having a commission-only sales rep. They're going to just buy. It's not going to be hard. Demand's going to be super high and supply is going to be too low, and you're just going to sell out straight away. Then stage 2, so at this stage in the market, you can still lead with the claim. So this is after people have seen a little bit of it. They might know that commission-only sales reps exist, and they still believe the claim, they still like it. You just need to be a bit bigger, a bit better, a bit stronger, faster, etc. So, e.g., with the sales rep thing, you might go from we offer commission-only sales reps to we offer trained, vetted, and proven commission-only sales reps. So if it's in short-form content agencies that you might have seen popping up recently, it might go from we'll get you 100,000 views to 200,000 views, 300,000 views, and the guarantees are just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the claims are just going to get more bold and more bold. So what the best of the best do in this scenario is push that offer to the absolute limits. So people who actually have the skill and they have the ability to progress that claim are going to do so until people just start saying, that's not true. Like there's no possible way that you can fulfill that. And then we're going to progress to the next stage. So I'm going to give a shout out to the guy in my DMs saying, if I don't get more jacked, he's going to give me $2,000. So that's an example of someone trying to, give some crazy claim, and people are going to buy at this stage. But the thing is, it's just going to be really hard, and you're just going to have to bring out things like that to get that. It's really just to catch the eye and get that split second of demand, because that's what we're looking for. We need someone to read the claim, read the headline, read the offer, and say, oh. Their ears almost prick up. It almost strikes a nerve with them, and it makes them perk up and start listening. The third stage is basically when the old claim becomes weakened and the whispers of saturation start to seep in. So, as I mentioned before, this is when people start not stopping to believe what is going on. So, if you've seen a guy called Jeremy Miner, you're noticing that he's doing something different in his marketing at the moment. So he's saying the old way of sales doesn't work anymore. You need the new way. So he's saying you can't sell high levels of, you can't sell high volume without using this new way that's not sleazy. So you can't close deals with the Belfort way of selling. I've only done this by selling in a new way. The old mechanism doesn't work. You're going to stop. You're not going to be able to sell, etc., etc. And this makes people's ears perk up again because they almost suspect by this point that the old way doesn't work. So they're already skeptical of the second stage of offer. And then you get to the third stage and they think, oh, I knew I needed something else. It's almost like preying on their suspicion at that point. So what you need to do is you need to create a new angle that's responding to what quote unquote broke in the first two stages of sophistication. So in this example, the thing that broke in sales was the pushy sales tactics that made it sleazy. So it gave sales a bit of a bad reputation. So Miner actually saw that in the market and then sophisticated the market by pushing it to the next stage. So this is a very, very smart thing to do because, as I mentioned, so people are already suspecting when you get to this stage that whatever was going on in steps 1 and 2 is not working anymore. So they progress it and go to step 3. All of a sudden things start working and they can start selling all over again. Then we get to stage 4, which is the same as the second stage, but for the new mechanism. So basically what's going on here is that people are saying, oh yeah, we use the new way of selling. We're not using the old way, but we're doing it better. So it's just getting pushed again. So what you're doing here is expanding, refining, and pushing the new mechanism to its limit until it again breaks. Then at stage 5, this is where pretty much a good example would be fitness. So at stage 5, this is where something's been commoditized, hammered, whatever you want to call it. This is just when it's been sold for a long, long time and people understand it, people know it. And it's not necessarily something that they want to buy, but you can still sell it. It's just harder. So there's still demand. It's just not something where you're going to create this random new thing. People have seen all the stuff in the market. At this stage, you need to focus on branding and identity. A new mechanism will help, but what you need to focus on is the branding and then identifying with the prospect. For example, someone like KinoBody has the mechanism of reverse pyramid training as well as heavy personal branding and parasocial relationships. If you don't know what a parasocial relationship is, it's basically just when you make someone feel like they know you without ever meeting you. So when they do, look to buy from you or they talk to you, they almost see you as a celebrity. It's this sort of authoritative veneer that you create through your personal branding. So for example, Greg O'Gallagher, KinoBody, is very good at marketing. So I guarantee you he's aware of all this stuff. And that is actually how he's able to still sell it. So what I've seen in the marketplace with this in terms of things like real estate agencies, they're getting lead gen for real estate agencies and stuff like that. This sort of thing is getting hammered a lot. So you probably need to push your market to another level of sophistication and step up a little bit. So here's Greg O'Gallagher with his claims of how everyday men are transforming their bodies in less than 12 weeks to look like shredded movie stars. So here, the movie star analogy is actually step 5. So that's identifying with the brand. So the customers are going to see this and say, oh, movie star, like it's endorsed by movie stars. You want to be a movie star. So you gain the status of that. So it's actually very smart there by Greg. And then a few notes on this as well. So there's fluidity here. So no offer is actually guaranteed to be at every level of sophistication or any level of sophistication. It's just going to be a range. So you're not going to be able to look at a market and say, oh, that's level 1, that's level 2. Like that's just not how it works. And then it's also key that you want to be the one that's actually moving this forward. So you don't want to see this and say, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure it's at level 2. So, I'm just going to do a level 2 one. You want to be the one that's pushing it forward. So if you see it and you suspect it's at 2, at least go to 3. Personally, I like myself and all my clients to go straight to level 5 and they just have the best offer on the market and they completely bulldoze everyone. And that's honestly the person that's going to make the most money, typically like a crypto bull run. So if you're there early, you're going to be rich. If you're late, you lose. Everyone sells their stuff and you're the one that's sort of left there with no money. So that sucks. You don't want to be one of those dorks who's pushing a bad offer. That's basically the crux of it. So the market's already seen it. The market's already beaten it. If you're the one pushing that offer, what you need to do is you need to work on your product so you can actually deliver whatever it is in a sophisticated market. So if you're selling short form, you need to figure out a way to deliver better outcomes or use a different mechanism, find a new technology to deliver better outcomes. So basically what this means is you're going to be able to rule out competitors by asking the right questions. E.g., is X important to you? So you can figure out where they are in the market. You can figure out the technology. So you need to basically just determine this stuff. So you need to know your market really well. So hang out on social pages, ask ChatGPT, do your market research. You cannot skip out on your market research. I'll make another video about this as well, and I'll probably put it in my school group. Again, you want to be one ahead at minimum. Another thing is that due to the landscape of Twitter, markets, digital stuff, markets are going to sophisticate much faster than before, especially in certain niches. So it's key that this is only in certain niches. So you might be able to go into enterprise, corporate stuff and find a completely blue ocean for something that is completely saturated in another area. So if you're in e-com areas, you might see email marketing as, oh, everyone knows email marketing. That's such a saturated offer. Or you might be able to go to another area and no one would have even heard of email marketing. They say, oh my God, like I can drive that much revenue through email. So you need to be really aware of that. And in saying that, it still takes a long, long time for something to be truly saturated. As I mentioned, new niches, skill gaps, etc. All of these things are going to prevent things from being saturated. And there's almost a perception of saturation far before it is genuinely saturated or sophisticated. Because as you may know, saying something saturated is it's not really a real thing because markets only sophisticated. Because if it's saturated, then no one can sell. But in reality, when it's sophisticated, only the best can sell. So this works for offers, landing pages, cold email copy, social media, or pretty much even for fashion, if that helps you conceptualize it. So if you see someone wearing a pair of shoes, you see everyone wearing this pair of shoes, you can see that market sophisticating slowly, and basically just use it as a rule of thumb. I think Hormozy has tweeted about this before. If everyone's doing one thing, just do it differently. Just never do the exact same thing. And then in terms of market awareness, so this is on to the next thing. I'm going to take you through this. Bang, here we are back on the board. So basically now you need to leverage the level of awareness in your market. So what you're going to look at, it's kind of similar to the level of sophistication in terms of the steps, but basically you're going to have people that are super, super aware. So all you're going to need is a quick selling point, mention the name of your brand, and then send the invoice because they're problem aware and solution aware. They just need a reminder to buy. That's basically like at the stage where you're just nudging them to buy. And then you're also going to have people that know of your solution, but they don't necessarily want it. And here you're going to have to reinforce the desire for the product. So basically label the ideal customer profile. So someone might say, this is for you if, that's how you do it. And then you want to sharpen the image of the way the product satisfies the desire that they have. And then extend the image of where and when the product satisfies the desire. So basically paint the dream state and then introduce new proof, new details, documentation of how well the product satisfies the desire. So basically spamming social proof in your marketing. And then next, you sort of announcing a new mechanism that a product can better satisfy a desire. Announce a new mechanism that eliminates formula limitations. So basically, this is when you're tapping old leads with a new mechanism introduced, or G there would be, we can long here, would be completely change the image or the mechanism of the product in order to remove it from the competition of the other products. So an example of this is as you develop a product, there's going to be a lot of people that don't buy. So this is why you need a tight CRM that notes the reason that people aren't buying. And then once you get the note, make sure you actually know why. Like you're getting the real reason they're not buying. So then when you make a new mechanism later down the line, this might be months down the line, you can actually, eliminate the objections they have. You can retarget, you can call these email these leads and then get them back on the phone. So, hey, is this John? Hey, John, it's Leo from Software and Solutions here. We actually talked a few months ago. Does that ring a bell? And they might say, yeah. And you say, okay, cool. So basically the reason I'm calling you again is that I remember that the reason you didn't want to move forward was why, which I actually found to be pretty reasonable. So me and the team actually, went back to the drawing board and made a bit of a new offer that sort of seemingly prevents that. So is that something that you might be open to having a 15-minute conversation about or something like that? That's just sort of off the top of my head. Don't murder me if the tonality or whatever wasn't on. But what you want to do is you can actually go back and look at these people that know of what you have, but they don't necessarily want it, and then determine the reason and then go back again and circle back to them. So this is a really good way to reactivate old leads and then moving forward. So just for context as well, this is when you're marketing and selling as well. So when they don't know your product, but they have the problem that your product solves, you pinpoint desire, prove it works, explain the mechanism, capture the feelings, and capitalize by providing a solution. So for example, how to win friends and influence people is capturing the feelings and basically provide a solution. And then your marketing must be as if all of the emotions of the ICP had been put in a melting pot and then dripped out like melted gold onto the page. So it's just about sort of painting that dream state. So all the emotions and all the fears, and you're just spamming them all the way across your marketing. And then down here, we've got has a big problem and needs solving. So again, you're just going short, sharp, and effective. Basically, you can just say, do you have this problem? Would you be interested if we can solve this problem? An example of this might be, tax. Like if you're an accountant and you've got tax time coming up and someone says they've got a big problem, you say, hey, do you have tax problems? Do you need your tax stuff fixed? And they might say, oh my God, thank God. That's exactly what I needed. And then you can just solve that for them. And then over here, you have completely unaware. So this is when they have no desire or awareness of their need. And the only way is to call them out in the market and try to draw them in. So that would be, hey, all beginner sales reps, or if you're an agency owner doing XYZ per month, basically you're just trying to identify with them and get them into the funnel. And then from there, you're able to basically make them aware of the problem. So notes on this, the level of market awareness are essential in both marketing and sales. So being aware of the prospects and where they're at, you're going to make it so much easier to sell to them. And much of your effort should actually be put into finding where they are at. So even when you're discussing it with them in the one-on-one fashion, pre-sales call, you might text them and say, hey, have you already decided that you needed to solve X? Have you already decided that you need a new lead database or something like that? And accelerate the process of their awareness. So you might be able to send them new info. You might be able to educate them a bit more and make them more aware, because basically in your content, you want to be making them more aware progressively so they can eventually get to the point where they just buy. So they're super problem aware and they have a desire. That's basically what content is for. And then in your sales calls, you're doing the same thing. You basically want to use your questions to make them aware that they should buy. And you want to educate them, case studies, build status, etc., all the stuff that we know and love. And then it's also important that you merge these things in your marketing to your brand, because obviously there is a range of levels of awareness within your brand. So in your content, you're going to see people that, you might have people that have just followed you, and then you might have people that have followed you, for 10 years and they love your stuff. So what you need to do is mix in all of the different strategies and basically just help people progress along the levels of awareness. So hopefully this helps in terms of the awareness side. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and take you through the next part. Okay, so now that we understand sophistication, we understand awareness, what we need to do now is understand how to validate an offer. And I'm going to tell you a story as well in a second. But what we want to do is we're going to use this calculator. It's on surveymonkey.com. You can look up the significant result calculator. And what we're going to look at is, for example, if you're going to send 100 emails with one type of message, and that message gets one response, and then you use another message and that one gets 3 responses, you're testing 2 different types of messaging. You might be testing 2 different types of offers. We're going to be able to see that that result is actually not significant. So that's not going to deliver us information that we can go off and use and apply that data to a broad audience. So does that make sense? So that data is not going to be statistically significant enough for us to go off and say, okay, this is a fact that this messaging works better than the other one. Comparing this to sending 1,000 per test, clearly this second test where we send 1,000 emails is going to create a significant result. So you can say for certain that message B is more powerful than message A. So does that make sense? So it can be difficult to conduct this larger test, but we need to make sure because the significant results are infinitely more valuable than speculative ones. And the story that I want to tell you is actually about snakes and Australia and venom. So, all right, that's a bit of a scary pre-frame, but basically the story is there was once a guy that went into a hospital and he'd just been bitten by a snake. So he'd just been bitten by what he knew to be a brown snake. So he's like, man, I just got absolutely ruined by a brown snake. I'm certain I need that brown snake anti-venom that you guys have. Don't worry about it. I'm a snake expert. I've spent the last 25 years working with snakes. It was a brown snake. I'm such a legend. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. Brown snake. 24 hours later, that guy's dead. Rest in peace. Because it wasn't a brown snake. He actually had been bitten by a different type of snake. He'd been delivered the brown snake anti-venom. And then what happened was he wasn't able to solve it. So he ended up passing away. And then there was a rookie, a complete imbecile, knew nothing about snakes, the next day who came in and said, oh my God, I don't know what I just got bit by. I just got hurt by a snake. I'm down bad. I don't know what's happening. Blah, 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 blah. Please just save me, please. I don't know anything. That person is actually the one that ended up surviving because they got every anti-venom delivered. They covered all their bases and they got delivered the brown snake anti-venom because that person actually got bit by a brown snake. So if you're the lesson in there is that if you think you're some genius about your market, you know everything about your market, you can actually create a false positive and say, I know this messaging is going to work. And then you're actually going to be the one that loses out and gets beaten by someone who was more of a beginner in your market. And they were actually the ones that went in, did the testing, they did the hard yards, and they actually got the data that was going to be significant that told them that it was going to work. So if you don't like snakes, then I'm sorry, but that had to be said. If you don't do that, then you're probably going to end up dying from a snake bite. Just be aware. Not my fault. So next thing, why you need to stop competing. Basically, when you stop competing, you guarantee immediate profit. So you can actually target larger competitors that struggle with focus and have blind spots. So if you go after these blind spots that you find in your testing, it actually ensures a zero competition environment. And a competitor is actually going to watch what you're doing and then either opt to compete with you because you're doing so well, or, buy you if you're successful. They might try and invest in you, or that, partner with you, that sort of thing. Or they're just going to not even try and touch you because they can't be bothered. You're also going to be able to deliver better solutions. So with the focus that you get from all this testing and making this offer, you can actually make your solution, you sort of mold your product into the thing that becomes the best offer. So it becomes the only or best option for the niche. So then all of a sudden you're engineering bandwidth at one singular problem, and that's actually going to beat the bandwidth of other people that are targeting multiple problems. As well as this, you're going to get potent messaging and marketing if you decide to stop competing and go for a really high level of the market. And then you're going to be able to create that laser message that drives through the market and pierces the market. And that's actually what provides the highest ROI. So you're going to get those click-through rates. You're going to get that higher lead conversion rate. Those CPDs, those CPLs, those CPMs are going to drop off a cliff because basically the poor focus in marketing is what drops the efficiency. On top of that, you're going to be able to get lethal sales conversions because salespeople and automated funnels function best when there's only one person being targeted. So if you dial in this offer, then all of a sudden everything after it is going to do really well because salespeople really get good and they really start to get these hockey stick returns when they're only selling one thing to one type of customer because they're able to preempt everything that the customer is going to say. They know all their fears, they know all their desires, and they're going to know how to deal with that really well. On top of that, in the automated funnel side, obviously you can deploy that too. Furthermore, you get a moat because competitors aren't going to try and touch you if they know you're only focused on this one thing. So they're going to have to be more obsessed than you to be able to beat you, and they're not going to be able to do that. What you're actually going to want to do this is to merge the sales, marketing, and product development all together. So you need these things to converge into one thing. So all of a sudden you're running discovery calls for your market research and finding out what the burning fears and desires are. And then you actually pour that back into your marketing where you're testing the angles that resonate with the broad market, with your ideal customers. And then in the product development, you actually mold the product into what sells and markets the most easily. So you might have heard about this story with different SaaS companies where in the beginning, what they do is they work really, really hard with the customers. The customer might give an objection like saying, oh, what you guys have is really good, but I don't want to, I can't be bothered moving over because it's a really strenuous process. So then what the SaaS founder will do is saying, damn, I really need to integrate that in my offer and say, hey, look, I'm willing to transfer you over for free. We'll do all of that ourselves. We'll do that for free so you can join. Then as soon as they offer that to the marketplace, they get a real resonance because that's an objection that a lot of people have been holding. And the only way they were able to do that is because they were the ones on the sales calls. They were the ones doing the marketing. And those were the ones that were doing the product development all at the same time. So that's actually how you find product market fit, is being really in tune with your customer and just having a massive focus on what they're doing, what they need, and then delivering that for them. So you use sales and marketing to develop the product as you go so you can find product market fit. And that's when you get the customers flying in left and right. You get that word of mouth because you have delivered something that they desperately, desperately want. So you can do this using viral ads and sales letters, and you can actually join my free school group for how to do that in a bit more depth. So if you want more resources like this, then join the free school group in the description. I'll drop the PowerPoint in there, as well as a few more links from this video, and I've got a ton of stuff in there as well. So if you don't do that, the big man that can't be named is going to ban your account. So be careful, join in. I'll see you in there. I do live calls once a week as well. So it's going to be a bunch of fun, and hopefully we'll talk soon. Ciao.